Alright everyone, welcome to round 1 of the Northeast Regional level of the Collegiate League. I'm Rheingold River, joined tonight by Gilfrost here to bring you some exciting games.
Yeah.
And we actually have 8 teams in this round, so there will be 4 games total. It's a best of 1 between the teams, and the winners of each game will move on to the semifinals, which will be held tomorrow night at 4 p.m. Pacific or 7 p.m. Eastern Time, the same time that this round is starting. The overall winners of the regional competition will get to move on to the national tournament, which will happen at a later date, where they will compete against teams from the other 3 regions. The 4 regions overall are the Northeast region that we're seeing tonight, Midwest, West, and South. And there's some really great prizes on the line at nationals, so winning here means a lot to these teams. The first game that we're seeing right now on the screen in Picks and Bans is University of Pittsburgh versus Dartmouth, and then later on we have SUNY Birmingham versus SUNY New Paltz, Rowan versus Barrage, and then UPitt Johnstown versus Rochester. So those are the 8 teams in this round, and I just want to take this moment to thank our sponsors real quick: Silverstone, Gunner, Velocity Micro, Falcon, Cougar, and GX Gaming. So Gilfrost, take us through the band scene.
Alrighty, sounds good. We are into the picks and bans. Thank you so much. And looks like right now we've got Shyvana, Gragas, and Kha'Zix coming out from Dartmouth. And on the side of UPitt, we've got Kassadin and Yasuo as they are choosing their 3rd ban right now, and it is going to be Elise. And by and large, those are some solo queue bans there, with a few exceptions.
Yeah, these are really solid solo queue bans, but on the other hand, they're also bans that you would see in LCS. You know, Kassadin banned, I think it's actually been banned over in NA. It's been banned exactly 1 time by a blue team, and there are 2 games that it wasn't banned at all, and then every other time it was banned by the purple team. So basically, the red team just gets 2 bans plus Kassadin. You're guaranteed to see that. You're guaranteed to see that mid lane champion. LeBlanc is notably open. Kassadin, Gragas, Kha'Zix, Yasuo, those 4 mid laners taken away, and then Shyvana from the top lane, Elise from the jungle. Elise, a very, very solid ban. She's one of the strongest gankers in the game early on. She scales pretty well into late game. You can build her tank, you can build her damage. Extremely versatile champion that you don't want to have to deal with.
Yeah, no, and one interesting thing about all these mid lane bans, the only 2 non-mid lane bans being Elise and Shyvana, is that we are playing on the 4.2 patch, and I do know that No Scope Sniped has been playing quite a few Xerath games, and he has just been rebuilt, so I would be really excited to see some early Xerath action since his rebuild here, as the first champion locked in is Thresh from the side of Dartmouth, and I know both of these supports play Thresh, so that's a good first pickup.
Yeah, Thresh is one of the most solid first picks in the entire game. The overwhelming trend in LCS is to pick a support, a jungler, or a top lane first. You want to save the AD carry for a little bit longer later on, see if you need someone more late game, see if you need someone more early game, see how much mobility you need. Jinx, as was just picked up there, the Jinx any bot lane, an extremely strong bot lane. Very, very few lanes can actually contest with that lane, so very solid pickup there. Over from Dartmouth. But Thresh, very safe pick. You can play him offensively, you can play him defensively, you can lane swap with him, you can 2v2 with him. He's good at all points in the game, and while he's not maybe as overpowered as someone like Kassadin, he's still a really, really solid first pick because of the versatility.
Most definitely, and that bot lane duo coming out, showing very strong from the side of University of Pittsburgh. I love that Annie Jinx lane, and we are very familiar with that from watching the LCS. I'm curious to see here now. There's that Xerath being hovered over, and yeah, that would be a treat. Meanwhile, we do have Lee Sin being hovered over as well, and I do know that is in Robert BJ's champion pool. And so we'll see if he does indeed bring that out. He also does play the Kha'Zix, which was banned out. So this might be something he defaults to. Actually, no, we are locking in a Mumu, and then a Ziggs actually being locked in for that mid laner No Scope Sniped.
Yeah, so a lot of AoE there. You have the Curse of the Sun Mummy from Mumu, one of the best AoEs in the entire game. And then, of course, Ziggs, while he is an AoE champion, he's more thought of as a long-range poke champion. And it's a little bit surprising to see a mid laner this early. Generally, you'll see it on the last rotation, but because they're blue team, they wouldn't get the chance to counterpick it anyway. So Ziggs is a very safe mid laner. LeBlanc is open. The Akali, if it gets locked in, that could be mid lane, it could be top lane. We actually saw Akali played a couple times in the NALCS. I believe Voyboy played it, and I want to say Scarra played it as well in Dignitas.
Yeah.
And have not seen it in ELCS a single time. And the Ahri does, or the Akali rather, does get locked in. So again, mid lane or top lane, probably going to be mid lane against Ziggs. Ziggs should have no problem pushing onto Akali. Really, really strong wave clear comes out of Ziggs. He's really known for his long range poke. Wave Clear, but of course it does have the AoE, which will synergize well with the Mumu.
Yeah, no, and I love that Akali pick as well, because, yeah, I mean, Ziggs is he's a fairly safe mid laner, and that, I mean, he's kind of top of the meta right now, but picking it that early does leave it open to picks like Akali, and so we'll see. If she hits level 6, she's going to start, especially with such a strong jungler like Lee Sin, that could be there could be a lot of focus on the mid lane here, and I do see that they still have left open here the AD carry and top roles here, so I'm curious to see. I don't think that Ashe is going to be locked in. I don't know what you think there.
It absolutely could be. She just received a minor buff in the 3.1 patch, and going for the Ashe initiation alongside the snipe potential from Ziggs, consider also that you have Thresh's big potential. That would be a really, really strong catch composition. So they are going for Lucian. Lucian Thresh versus Jinx Annie is probably the single most played bot lane matchup in LCS. Those 4 champions on those respective teams. Generally, Jinx Annie will be able to do well in lane early on just because you have a little bit superior trading out of Jinx. But the thing is that Thresh is so good at facilitating ganks that it really doesn't matter that they get a little bit behind because they can come back as soon as the jungler decides to come bot lane. And the thing that I actually wanted to say over about the picks from Dartmouth is that I'm actually a little bit surprised by the Lee Sin pick there, because you were absolutely right in saying what Akali wants to do is dive onto Ziggs with the help of a strong jungler and pick up kills that way. But the thing is that the single best jungler in the entire game at ganking mid lane is Vi, because you can't be CC'd during the assault and battery. You can just dive onto Ziggs, and depending on how he charms his satchel charge and how you use your CC, if you can flash Q, make him burn the satchel charge early, and then come in with your assault and battery, that's a lot of damage. Consider also that you're going to have the snipe coming down from Jinx's Super Mega Death Rocket, and Ziggs can actually just get completely blown up from a Vi gank.
Yeah, and I think really what it comes down to is O0, as I'm going to call him. O0's champion pool, because I don't think that he is necessarily a prolific Vi player at this point. So I guess he's defaulting to something a little more comfortable there. But yeah, Vi definitely would have been a very strong pickup there. That is going to be our team comps, though, as Nasus picked up here for the top lane for Dartmouth. And on the other side, we do have Olaf being picked up here for Catch 20. And yeah, those are going to be our comps for today's game.
So right off the bat, I'm a little bit concerned about the pushing potential coming out of Dartmouth. You do have Jinx, and Jinx is probably the single best AD carry in the entire game at shoving down towers, because she gets so much additional attack speed from her Q when it's in Pow Pow form. And so she can just melt through towers. However, if she is fighting against an enemy team that has such champions as Mumu and Thresh, she's really vulnerable if she's only 525 range away from the tower. So she's really going to be wanting it to hit it in Fishbones. And you only have the 2 auto attackers from range of Annie and Jinx. And Annie, the support, isn't really going to be doing that much damage to towers. So it's going to be all about Jinx. Akali, even if she gets really fed, she's not going to be able to hit towers because she's melee. Same goes for Olaf, same goes for Lee Sin. And so what we're going to have is a split-pushing Nasus with teleport. If he can 1v1 Olaf, it's going to be extremely difficult for Dartmouth to take advantage of the 5 versus 4 and actually push down towers, because there's so much threat from engage from Pittsburgh, and they just, again, don't have that much tower pushing potential.
Yeah, no, it's going to be interesting to see how they handle that here. I'm talking about these team comps, especially the dual lanes. Are you expecting any lane swaps here? Or, I mean, we are in 4.2, so we have had some recent changes to the towers, as well as the ones in 4.1. Do you expect to see any lane swaps, any 2v1s in this game?
Potentially, we could maybe see a 2v1. But I don't really think so, because Nasus does extremely well in a 1 versus 2, and Jinx has really, really good tower pushing potential in 1 versus 2. And so those two interests are sort of conflicting with each other. I think that Jinx Annie would want the 2v1 swap so that they can push down the tower really, really quickly, but Nasus is going to have no trouble with the wave clear. And especially considering that you would be swapping up to a tower that now, of course, has the additional block passive in Tillman and 8. It's going to be really hard for them to actually push faster than Lucian and Thresh. But if we did see a team doing a swap, it would probably be Dartmouth initiating it.
Yeah, no, I would have to agree with that. And another thing about just choices like that in a game like this, it is a single elimination here at this point in the tournament. The final will be a best of 3, but right now these two teams are playing for their tournament lives, and so making calls like that at this point are going to be really high risk. And I'm fairly sure that we'll see a little bit more standard play. These guys they both chose fairly comfortable team comps. And it looks like they're really just looking to play their game consistently, and a risky move like a lane swap at this point in the game, I wouldn't expect it. We may see some level 1 action, but I also would say that there's a very good chance that they're going to play it safe here at the beginning of this game. But, I guess only time will tell, especially with an Akali. I'm really expecting level 6 to be a big change in the ebb and flow of this game, as there are quite a few good ultimates out there. Amumu's ultimate, obviously, as well as Akali is really going to hit stride at around level 6, and so we'll see here, not to mention Annie as well.
Yeah, the thing to really watch for is that Nasus has teleport, and so if Nasus can get level 6, not having had to burn teleport, then he will have a lot of teleport potential to come down from a dragon. He would not be able to be stopped by Olaf. Olaf would be able to do quite a bit of damage to Nasus during the channel, so Nasus would probably want to recall and then teleport down for a dragon. That's going to be a great potential for UPittsburgh to be able to do something on that. So expect to see Lee Sin try to go top early, try to force Nasus out of lane, not to kill him, but just to burn his teleport, so that later, say 4 minutes from then, say Lee Sin comes top around 3.5 minutes, 4 minutes from that isn't too early to do a dragon. And then if Dartmouth can force that while Nasus is stuck top from having already burned a teleport, then they can really avoid the Nasus level 6 teleport dragon play. But if they're not able to do something like that, early dragons are definitely going to be a major factor for UPittsburgh to try and go for. And it is dangerous against an enemy support. It is dangerous against all of the damage from Jinx, but that is something to watch out for a lot, is does Lee Sin go top early to try and put that counter dragon pressure for 4 minutes later?
Yeah, no, that is a very good question. And by the way, for those of you, we are in the loading screen now, so you can see that teleport. We just got done with a 3-minute delay, and so that's why you couldn't see the summoner spells, but the cat is out of the bag at this point. But yeah, that teleport I think is going to definitely be a big part of that game, and we all know the power that Nasus can reach if he really reaches his maximum potential there. And so yeah, I would not be surprised if we do see quite a bit of action in that top lane early.
Yeah, and Jinx actually is a champion that has a lot of trouble versus Nasus. She was picked earlier than Nasus. I believe Nasus was one of the last 2 picks from UPittsburgh, but Jinx does not have a dash. The only way she can escape is if you step on her flame chompers, or if she gets a kill and then manages to get excited, run away. But the thing is that Nasus is slow, that Wither, that's going to decrease the potential of get excited quite a bit in fights, and so Jinx actually could have a lot of trouble in the late game against this Nasus.
Yeah, and it looks like we do have a pause coming out here at the beginning of this game, so we're going to go ahead and throw up an intermission screen. So the game, we're just waiting for the pause to be done, but we don't want to give anything away. There is a 3-minute delay. However, with the overlap that a pause can cause, we just want to make sure that everything is clean, that we have a good game here, and the pause is coming out here, though. It looks like we are having some connectivity issues. But yeah, let's take a look here at these opening builds as soon as they get them. But let's talk.
Well, we can't really talk about the opening items since then the players might be able to hear the stream. But we can talk a little bit more about potential team fights, because Akali is really a champion that you don't see all that often. And what Dartmouth has actually set up for themselves is let's let Jinx fend for herself composition. Annie has one of the best, not dives, but I guess offensive CCs out of any support. Similar to Leona, Leona wants to drop her solar flare in the middle of the enemy team. She doesn't want to peel for AD carry. Leona she does have multiple forms of crowd control, but Annie pretty much only has 1 CC. It takes her several seconds to get her stun back up. She has to cast the 4 additional spells after the one that she uses the stun on, and that's going to be 2 Qs, a W, and an E before she can actually get her stun back. So Annie's not going to really have that much peel for Jinx, because in theory she's just going to put Tibbers down. Akali has no CC whatsoever except for the slow on her Twilight Shroud, which she's probably going to have to put under the enemy team to use for herself. Olaf doesn't really have crowd control. He's going to be diving. And then you have Lee Sin. And Lee Sin is a really actually versatile fighter, but he's also not a peeler. And so you have this low mobility AD carry plus 4 divers on that team, and they just need to 100 to 0 people. They need to get Jinx excited immediately off of Akali bursting someone down, all of the dive potential, all of the lockdown from Lee Sin, from Olaf, from Annie. Akali needs to get that reset. Jinx needs to get that reset. If they can do that, they're going to be able to tear through team fights. But if Lucian gets, say, a third item Banshee's Veil, it's going to be extremely difficult for them to burst anyone down.
Well, yeah, and not to mention that speaking of CC and the team compositions here, you're going to be you've got a dive comp from the red side in University of Pittsburgh. And they're going to be running into an Amumu ultimate, not to mention Thresh ultimate and all of his CC, as well as even Nasus. He has that slow, which could possibly be used to disengage. So it's going to be up to them to really get those kills. And if the front line of Dartmouth plays the correctly, and if they are not behind coming into the team fight phase, they've definitely got a strong team fighting comp. And so I guess only time will tell. The one, I guess, thing is Catch-20. He is on that Olaf, so he's going to be that one member that shouldn't have any trouble getting to the back line. So I think that really, honestly, is one of the better pickups. That was their last pick from the side of UPIT. As we are in level 1s, there was a little bit of early Q there from Lee Sin poking out into that enemy jungle, but it looks like both teams going to set up defensive front lines in their jungle, and there's not going to be too much early pressure here in this game.
Yeah, not really doing anything at level 1. You see that BJ Cheng wants to start here over at the blue buff, Mumu wanting to get his early blue. I really, really like that Thresh and Lucian are not leashing, because Jinx Annie is a lane that would be able to outpush Lucian Thresh. Jinx gets so much either splash damage or attack speed from her Q, and Annie can wave clear much more safer than Thresh. Thresh, of course, has this newly reduced auto attack range of 450, Annie having 625. Jinx Annie is going to be able to outshove the Lucian Thresh, and then pretty much zone them for an entire level after doing so. So Lucian Thresh getting to lane early means that they can get an early shove on the lane, not allow that to happen, and you see some damage being exchanged immediately between the two lanes instead of Jinx Annie just dominating.
Yeah, and one notable pickup here from Lord Taros is he did pick up his Q first. He's not opting for that early stun, so he wasn't able to build up a stun, but he's opting for more early pressure here in this bot lane, and so far they've got a little bit of damage onto Bobby as he continues, or Blobby, excuse me, he continues to take auto attacks and damage from Lord Taros.
Yeah, a lot of damage being exchanged here. I always sort of default to watching bot lane early on because in the 2v2 is generally the most exciting place. But looking over at mid lane, Sealark actually has a surprising CS lead over no scope sniped here. Generally, you expect to see a ranged champion like Ziggs with a lot of poke do very, very well against an Akali early on. But Sealark has actually been doing a great job of getting farm, sitting at 12 to just the 5 of Ziggs, so definitely look for big things from Akali, especially as Lee Sin starts to come mid. Right now, he's on his way top lane.
It looks like he is indeed. Flesh Purveyor does have a ward here, so he should spot this out, but the slow comes out from 20Ju, and they are in onto Purveyor, and it's going to be First Blood. Lee Sin getting in there to get that with the help of his top laner. First Blood going over to University of Pittsburgh.
Yeah, all right, so First Blood there over to the red team. Dartmouth, actually, I believe, or I'm not sure if I got that wrong, but do you have a teleport top? Nasa's going to be able to come back, and that's exactly what they want to do, burn the early teleport. I do think there's actually an issue with the stream quality, if you want to check that out real quick while we just look at what happened there. We have the cloth armor there, pick up by Nasus, so he's going to be a little bit tankier against Olaf. Of course, a lot of Olaf's damage does come from his E, the Reckless Swing doing 2 damage, and so you want to be trying to build up some health, but Nasus getting the early cloth armor there is actually slightly surprising to me, because generally you want to just get a lot of cooldown reduction early on Nasus. You want to pick up a Kindle Gem early and a Glacial Shroud, and then be able to build that eventually into a Frozen Heart, eventually into a Spear of Visage, but just stack your Q as early as possible. That Cloth Armor, though, not going to be building into that, and he'll probably just get a Warden's Mail pickup from it, and of course picking up the early cloth armor, the only thing that he could afford, and so he'll be able to get that extra 300 gold worth of stats as soon as he gets back into lane, hopefully helping him out.
Yeah, no, and we'll see here, but we do see in the bot lane, Mark continues to be harassed here. However, he's doing a decent enough job of farming with all the poke coming out from Annie and Jinx. Only a few behind Jinx in this bot lane, and they are doing a good job of keeping this duo lane from the red side away from their turret so far. Blobby hasn't landed any crucial hooks as of yet, but they are doing a fairly good job matching up here in the bot lane.
Yeah, and Annie actually just accidentally burned the stun on a creep, so that's going to be a little bit of decrease of presence out from Annie for a little bit. But Mark really, really low on mana right now, so both Lucian and Thresh are going to have to be a little bit careful. We have Uwu running down to the bot lane right now for a lane gank. A lot of damage goes down. There's the Flame Chompers.
Yes, Lord Taos does get pulled in by Blobby there, but Mark is going to have to back off. We do have Robert coming in as well to support them from the jungle. Amumu pushing back these members, but unfortunately his duo lane is just a little bit too low to re-engage, and so they are going to go ahead and just back off, and it looks like overall a nice gank there from Lee Sin. He didn't really do a lot at the beginning of that, but he was there to follow up from the damage of Penguin and Taros.
So Lee Sin actually did something really important there as Amumu goes back in.
Amumu does go back in. We do have a hook. Blobby catches out Lord Taos. He's not in range of the turret. He does actually take one turret hit, but Mark and Blobby are just too low. However, Robert is going to be able to get in there, and he does pick up the kill onto Annie as she got a little bit out of position there.
All right, so Robert did two really important things there. He managed to get the kill onto Annie there, which was really, really good because Jinx and Annie is going to be the stronger lane early on. And while Lucian didn't get the kill, it did give the assist gold over, so that's going to be really important to them. And the second thing, I guess the thing that Uhu did that was really important was that he burned Robert's flash before Robert hit level 6. So he actually came in for a flash Q, which he was hoping to land onto one of the duo laners, landed onto Lee Sin instead. That was fine, but he's not going to have flash the instant that he hit 6, so he's not going to be able to do that Amumu flash Curse of the Sad Mummy gang that a lot of Amumu players like to do. If you miss your bandage toss, you have the backup of being able to flash and hit that ult and go in, but he's not going to be able to do that.
Yeah, no, and speaking of level 6, we do have the mid and top laners hitting level 6, and in the top lane, Flesh Purveyor actually forced to pop that ultimate. The Ignite is on him. Catch 20 put on his ultimate as well, but that ultimate from Nasus is going to keep him alive for now. He was looking very low, but both top laners are going to return to the Farm Fest at this point. But speaking of that, Akali has hit level 6 as well as Ziggs. And with no early pressure and the fact that Akali does have a nice CS lead in that mid lane, she is looking very strong, and she has put out a lot of pain onto NoScope. NoScope did pick up the Chalice of Harmony, so that's going to give him a little bit of a resistance there, but Sealark going to be doing a little bit of attack damage as well. Still going to be quite a threat there.
Yeah, and if you could just check out the stream quality settings real quick, that would be great. Just give me a heads up when you've checked that out. I think there's a couple of issues with it. But yeah, the Kala's pickup from Akali is actually really, really offensive there. She wants to be able to stick to Ziggs. She wants to be able to pick up a kill onto that. We do have a Mumu coming down, but the Twilight Shadow is going to be enough for Akali to be able to get out. But in terms of her instant burst damage, Kalis doesn't really do that much for her. She will get some lifesteal, a little bit of additional sustain lane if she manages to be able to auto-attack creeps, but it's not giving her the extra ability power, it's not giving her the extra poke damage. And we actually do have everyone coming into mid lane. Akali going to dash forward there. There's the Dragon's Rage down onto Mumu, kicking him to the side. Kalis comes out from Akali, not going to be able to pay off just yet with a kill onto Mumu. Looks like everyone going to disengage here.
Yes, indeed. Nice job by Sealark using that ultimate to dodge any engagement there from Amumu onto a minion, and then jumping onto NoScope actually forced out the flash there, and so a nice job there by Sealark. She takes a few bombs there in the mid lane.
Yeah, and that was Lee Sin hitting level 6, and that's really the thing, that Lee Sin can't do what Vi can do, which is have a guaranteed knock-up onto someone, have that guaranteed kill. And would Vi have been able to get a kill if she were in the same position that Lee was? Not necessarily. And it's actually pretty likely that she wouldn't have, given that Amumu was there. But it's just a nice juke to the side coming out from Ziggs, causing him to be knocked sideways instead of knocked forward.
Yeah, no, and that definitely would have been a big good pickup for them, honestly. Just talking about the team comp as well, just the lack of CC, and that could end up haunting them as they are using that Lee Sin. Great mobility, but not as good of an initiation as that Vi pickup would have been. I checked the stream quality. I'm watching the stream, and I'll have to address some issues after this game, but it looks, I mean, on my end, it looks good, so I'll have to see what's going on after this game. As we actually do see...
I think it was actually suggested that you check the bitrate and see if you can increase that.
Alrighty, I'll see what I can do.
Alright, so moving back to bot lane, while you check out that, looking at the CS, we do have a CS lead for Jinx. That's pretty much going to be expected. Lee Sin actually going in for a quick steal of the white there. So, somewhat near top lane. We have a Mumu on his way back down to bot. Lee Sin dropping his Trinket Ward there at the blue buff to try and get vision of a Mumu 10 minutes in, so blue buff won't respawn for a little while. So I'm not too sure how much that ward is going to do because Amumu doesn't really have a reason to be there at that point in time. There's a lantern and flash forward, the flash away. The flash! Curse of Sad Mummy, that is the combo you want to do. He got the flash back up in time. Box comes down, the flash away. Timbers goes down, the exhaust. Super Mega Death Rocket and Mega Inferno Bomb both coming down. And Penguin is going to live about a 1-for-0 kill there. Nice pickup by Pittsburgh.
Yeah, and I mean, Blobby missed the hook there, but then they did get that Curse of the Sad Mummy in there. And honestly, if they had waited for that Curse of the Sad Mummy for the hook, they would have. There's a very good chance they could have picked up a 2-for-0 there. But nonetheless, they do pick up a 1-for-0. And they do come out on top in that interaction. As actually Lee Sin showing his face in the bot lane. He's going to basically be 2v1 here against a very high health Blobby and Mark here. He is going in, but I don't think he can really do much, especially since Robert is in the area as well, just in case. And yeah, they're just going to go ahead and back off from both sides as Jinx just continues to try to get her way up and farm.
So with everyone from the side of UPit, or the blue team, forced to recall right now because Amumu was so low, they would have a dragon opportunity right now. Yeah, there's a ward in the pit, but you know for sure that Amumu had to recall. You saw how low his health was, and Lee was able to delay Lucian and Thresh a little bit more on their recalls. They could have picked up dragon right there. And if they had picked it up, they almost surely would have been able to take it. And even at a pink ward, they could have established vision control in the pit, but Lee Sin just going back to his dragon, or back to his wolves, and Nasus' teleport is back up right now. So maybe they were scared of a Nasus teleport, but I definitely think they had the control to take it then. And again, the dragon control early on is in the blue team's favor this game. So it looks like they are going to go for it now.
Yeah, no, and they've got that pink ward on it. They had just placed that as you were talking about the dragon possibility, so they do know that it's clear. However, Thresh now making his way down. It's going to be a little too late, but they are at least going to have the timer on this. It's actually Blobby a little out of position there. Gets a flay off to try to stay alive, and with the calling coming out, it looks like they are going to have to disengage from the side of UPit, and they are going to go ahead and back off. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, we do see Sealark being caught out there. Robert Chang trying to get in there, but the dash out from Sealark is going to keep him alive for now. A nice job by Sealark, honestly, in the mid lane. Stay alive and just use that mobility to escape these ganks. It's actually in the top lane more action coming down. We do have the Ignite catching him out as Ketch picks up the kill. The Ignite was on Nasus. Nasus' ultimate was not enough, and Catch20, he has been absolutely bullying in this top lane, and picking up that kill is definitely going to help him out.
So we have those 3 creeps farmed from the tower there by that Mega Inferno Bomb. So I'll call worth from that one, as Ziggs picks up a little bit of farm from himself. They're not letting it die to turret. But yeah, Olaf, really nice kill there, knowing his limits. He had the ghost up. He was able to de-aggro from the turret. If he had taken one more tower shot, he would have gone down, and it would have been a 1-for-1. But as it was absolutely in his favor. So really, really nicely done there by him.
Yeah, looks like O0, by the way, in this bush over here. He actually was spotted up by a ward. He's going to go ahead and inspect this Tri-Brush, and he is going to discover a pink ward, so they're going to get that down. But no other action here in this gank, as he is just going to go ahead and back off in that brush. Somewhat dejected, as actually we do see the Lantern spotting him out there, so Blobby's going to be able to do something about that. Nasus returning to the top lane here. Ziggs, by the way, just got his second blue of the game, and so he's going to be a very happy bomb expert there in the mid lane.
Yeah, Ziggs loves blue more than pretty much any other mid laner. He really, really wants to be able to spam his bombs and be able to get that pushing, get that poke down, and of course be able to get the cooldown on his ultimate, which is semi-global, and he is not going to be coming bot. Amumu near the bot lane area, Lee Sin coming down, and it's actually a little bit surprising to see this much attention bot lane given that Dragon is down, but as I say that, Amumu's red comes back up. He's going to be able to pick up that, but Lee is actually leaving his red right now unguarded by anyone.
Yeah, no, and he's definitely focusing on this bot lane. As the top lane is really not an issue for him at this point. His Catch doing a great job on Olaf, pushing down onto Flesh, and so I'm actually surprised there hasn't been more looks in the mid lane, as Sealark actually doing all right for himself as well. But yeah, they need to make some more kills happen, as they do have the advantage. They're up to 2,000 gold right now, purely based on farm. They need to start making some more stuff happen. I guess also that first dragon as well, as Lee Sin looking at this mid lane was spotted out though by a ward. But there's the first turret of the game going in favor of UPit.
Yeah, so Upit able to pick that up. It went down to Olaf there. He's going to be able to shove the lane a little bit. And Nasus actually, yeah, he's going to say he wants to pick up that farm. But yeah, going for that really, really early Randuin's Omen, I sort of question that a little bit, but I'm sure he has his reasons. Probably he is concerned about Jinx and really wants to be able to make sure that at no point in time can Jinx actually 1v1 him, getting the attack speed debuff there. But it is going to hurt his CDR, not having that. And he actually, interestingly, put points into Wither second, so that's very much a team fight build and max order as the kill goes down onto Akali in the mid lane.
And Akali, the assassin in the mid lane, absolutely annihilating, or getting annihilated by Ziggs, and the bombs coming out there, the help from Robert
and
as
top
well.
Lane.
Oh, and the top lane now as well is a dive underneath that turret and catch, absolutely dominating this top lane here.
Yeah, so they're going to be able to get damage now onto the inner turret in top lane. They can just tank it up. They can just pick up the turret here. That was 2 top turrets effectively traded for 1 mid lane turret. I guess the top outer turret had already gone down. So 1 for 1 there on the turrets. Arguable actually whether top inner is more important in terms of map control or mid outer, but no one's here to defend the inhibitor turret. And they're actually just getting damage onto the inhibitor turret. The respawn timer on Nasus was too long. He didn't want to teleport it just for that little way, and I don't think he could have saved it regardless. And that's an inhibitor turret down. That was a huge win for Dartmouth, especially, or for Upit rather, especially considering how difficult it is for them to push turrets.
Yeah, we do have Ziggs now in the area as well, and they're going to get in on their catch-20 though, doing a ton of damage there. He tries to get the kill onto Robert, but Amumu is going to escape with just a sliver of health. But overall, a turret and an inhibitor turret traded for 1 kill, definitely worth from the side of Red, and they're going to go ahead and get a little bit of jungle steal there as Schwag is Akali actually poked her head bot, but yeah, that is already an inhibitor turret down.
Yeah, that is absolutely huge. And the thing about inhibitor turrets is that they heal over time. So getting a lot of damage onto an inhibitor turret at 16 minutes doesn't mean anything if you're not able to return until the 30-minute mark. And we actually see that happen a lot in LCS games. So it's something that you really have to be careful about. If you're going to commit the resources to pushing down an inhibitor turret, you have to be able to pick it up all the way, which they were able to do that time. It worked really, really well for them. So well played there by the red team getting that turret down, and then especially because their composition is so bad at sieging. They don't have the siege composition, they don't have that much wave clear, they don't have that much ranged ability to poke down towers quickly, and so it would have been really hard for them to get the inhibitor turret down at 30 minutes in a close game.
Yeah, no, and I definitely think that having Olaf as fed as he is right now is going to definitely be huge for this team, especially with that turret being down. He's going to be able to split push with almost no problem right now. And that could provide a very difficult situation for Blue here in this game, as we are seeing 3 members of each team here in the, or excuse me, of Team Red in the mid lane. Dartmouth, they've got Robert there as well for support, and it looks like Lee Sin actually looking bot for a gank there. He is going to be spotted out by a ward though.
Okay, so I actually asked, and the blue team is Dartmouth as Jinx gets hooked in there, but played away as Lee Sin is coming down.
He is going to get in there, does get the Q off onto Blobby, but that ultimate popped by him defensively, just a little bit freaked out there. Went ahead and popped it early, but we do have actually now Flesh coming down, and it looks like we may see our first team fight of the game here, as actually Red is a little bit split up here, but here comes Akali. The Mega Inferno Bomb comes out, the huge ultimate there from Jinx as well. It's going to be 1 for 1 overall. Annie picking up a kill onto Amumu. Nasus now with a double kill. Flesh Purveyor is going to have to escape now. Lord Teros does have a stun available, pops it onto both Flesh Purveyor and no scoped, and now they're going to clean this up. Penguin does get that passive popped, and now they're going to be chasing on. Ooh is going to escape just barely as a double kill for Jinx. Brings it to overall a 3 for 2 trade, and a nice job by Upit cleaning up that fight.
Yeah, really, really nice job by Upit. They were able to pick up the kill on Ziggs. Took them a little while, but you know what? Better safe than sorry, and taking your time to pick up a kill there. I believe they actually passed it over to the person that they wanted it to go to in the end. But that was actually a really messy engage coming out from Dartmouth, because Amumu banished toss onto Nasus. That is not something that you really want to be doing. You don't want to be engaging onto the tank in a fight like this. And then also, at this point in time, Jinx is doing a lot more damage than Lycian. Jinx already has picked up the Bloodthirster, and she's sitting at a full 30 stacks. I think it was already stacked by that fight as well. And Amumu actually really dangerously trying to sneak a dragon here.
Yeah, he is pretty tanky right now with the Spirit of the Ancient Golem and the Giant's Belt, so he's going to escape. He's not going to be much of a threat here, but yeah, that dragon was definitely being looked at here as, actually has not backed yet. He's very low. He's going to go ahead and safeguard his way out there, but actually a little bit of an overcommitment there from UPIT as we do get the kill. Mark picking that one up on, on that 80 carry, and that might give them a free dragon.
Yeah, so Olaf is top right now, but he has a ways to go before he gets to the inhibitor. And at this point in time, Olaf can't really burst down an inhibitor quickly at all. It will be able to regenerate. It's already regenerated fully from the last time that it took a bit of damage, and I don't think Olaf's going to be able to pick it up before Nasus can come in. The question would be, can Olaf just ignore Nasus? But I think the answer is no.
Yes,
Amumu going to go down.
As Amumu backing right on top of a ward and not safe area. He goes down with an assist there going to Penguin with the ultimate. Yeah, Olaf, Nasus did back in the top, so no damage really done on this inhibitor. But still, another nice pickup. It's 7-7 in kills, but right now, UPIT doing a good job of controlling this game for the most part. And they're currently sitting on a lead because of it, as they have 4-1 in turrets.
Yeah, so Death Sentence, they're narrowly missing Annie. She was able to recall with no problem. Taking a look at builds, we actually have a really fast Lich Bane coming out from No Scope Snipe there in the mid lane. This is not something that you see too often on Ziggs. It's actually a build that is really common on the Twisted Tree line. When you play Ziggs on Twisted Tree line, a lot of people will pick up that early Lich Bane for fast tower pushing and better fast dueling potential. But on Summoner's Rift, that's a really surprising build to actually see out of Ziggs generally, because you're really long range, and frequently you'll end up getting pretty low in a fight early on and then not being able to actually get an auto attack range. And it does synergize really well with his short fuse, his passive. So it's not a bad item on him, it's just a little bit unstandard. And actually the thing that I'm really surprised about with Ziggs is that he actually opted to take Ignite against an assassin like Akali. Almost always in a situation like that, you're going to be going for barrier on a Ziggs mid. So they were really, really confident in their ability to pick up kills in mid lane, and it didn't work out too much for them.
No, we do have getting caught out here. He was actually out of position earlier as well, and he was brought to about 25% health. Olaf is in the area as well, and he is a fed beast, and so he's going to be doing a lot of damage here. Is actually a flash forced out of 0-0, but Mark is there, going to clean up the kill, and now the positioning from UPIT a little bit substandard, and it looks like Blobby being brought very low. Catch-20 is going to pick up that kill. Annie there on the backside. Penguin did get that passive, so she is very excited, is going to go ahead and back out, and overall a 2-for-1 once again in favor of UPIT, and yeah, I mean, Lee Sin out of position, but the Team Rome was able to pick him up a positive kill death.
Yeah, you're only out of position if your team doesn't get revenge kills. If your team gets revenge kills, you were just baiting. So Lee Sin there, absolutely just baiting. It was definitely not a matter of him being out of position in the slightest.
Those were words of wisdom, you guys. Everyone watching, write those down. Those are that's a quote to live by there in League, as we do see that. The UPIT mid laner and support are going to be pushing in onto this turret. Amumu's there, though, so they're not going to get too much here. And he's going to lay down a stun to slow him down. But, yeah, he's pretty safe right now in this mid lane.
I actually want to point out, as Annie gets caught out.
And he does get caught out, forced to flash over the wall. The slow comes down there from Sealark, just really for swag at that point. But Annie does escape. But anyway, what were you saying?
Well, so now I want to say that I was mentioning in Champ Select, Akali not really going to be able to use her Twilight Shout for peel, but that's actually exactly what she did right there, taking advantage of the slow, helping Annie escape there. But I wanted to mention Annie's skilling order, which is really interesting, because she maxed Q first, and then put points into E. Generally, what you're going to see on support Annie is a max of W into Q, and then points into E absolutely last. Because you want to be able to increase your burst potential in lane as much as possible. You're generally not poking too much with Q, and you just care about holding your stun and then getting 100 to 0. W scales more damage per level than Q does, and E is purely defensive. But in this case, I actually like Annie's skilling order quite a bit. There's a lot of dive that she has to deal with, that she has to contend with. If she gets caught by a Thresh Death Sentence, that's a lot of damage she might take. So she can turn on her E even if she can't dodge the Q, and that's going to give her a lot of stats. It's 20 plus 10 per level, so that's 60 at max rank. That's a lot of armor magic that she's going to have. There's the engage on Thresh.
Yes, Penguin actually getting in a little bit of damage on the backside of that. Going to zone out Ziggs in the mid lane, but they're diving under the turret. Lord Taros picking himself up a kill as the dive comp dove under the turret, and now they've got a 5-man strong ball. And against only 3, Ziggs does get the ultimate off to clear some of the way, but that is going to be a very dead turret. Sealark actually getting a little deep here, but there's no vision, so she is going to be safe for now. Flesh Bear now being blocked out. The choppers are on the ground, and that's going to be a dead Nasus. The dead dog goes down, and that is another pickup for UPIT as they got the turret, and they may be able to turn this into another turret.
Yeah, I'm actually really confused as to why they're roaming mid. They're ahead enough that they don't need to pick up Baron in order to keep winning fights. Baron would probably be a trap, and even though they didn't really have a minion wave there, they did have Tibbers to tank turrets. Now at this point in time, you have Jinx with Last Whisper, Bloodthirster, plus Azeel. It's not the tower pushing build of Bloodthirster into Shiv, but it's still going to be doing quite a bit of damage to towers, especially if she's attacking with Pow Pow. There's the fight.
Yes, Robert does get in with the Curse of the Sad Mummy, but no one to really follow up. The ultimate comes out from Mark, but they do pick up a kill onto Lee Sin. He was a little bit too low there, and they do pick that up, but the turret goes down. And we'll just see if Dartmouth, they're going to be looking to pick something up from this. They have not had very many favorable trades recently, and this is the first opportunity they've had to get anything.
Yeah, they absolutely need to try to pick something up here, but I'm not sure if they'll necessarily be able to, just because Thresh and Lucian aren't really going anywhere. They're trying to catch out Akali, but Akali is one of the most mobile champions in the game, and she does have her flash up. At the very worst, she'll get executed, but she'll probably just be able to jump to the creeps and probably live here because she should have full stacks of her ult. Yeah, Death Sentence misses there, and Skeelark is going to be fine. Yeah,
no, there's no way that they're going to get to him now. With that Death Sentence down, they're going to go ahead and let her go, get some farm. But yeah, she was able to pick up the kill onto No Scope there, and so... always having her eyes on the map, was able to see that he was out of position and a little low backing. Was able to pick up that kill as both teams buying. The Dragon is back up, and it looks like Dartmouth going to try to pick up their first Dragon of the game.
Yeah, you could say that Akali sniped No Scope there, as Dartmouth does pick up the Dragon there. Sun comes down from Annie onto Nasus. Lee might be in trouble.
Lee does safeguard his way out. He's going to be safe for now, but yeah, that is a Dragon down. And let's see if I think they need to retreat from this. It would be a 4v4, or excuse me, even a 4v5 at this point. But they got the Dragon. They need to go ahead and back off, as that's a very hungry UPIT team there. And it looks like they're going to actually focus on mid here.
Yeah, so the last non-inhibitor turret should probably be able to go down if they dive it. I don't think that they can sit here and siege at all in the slightest, because they'll be too scared of getting engaged on. And Ziggs has really good wave clear. Lucian can use his culling if need be. They're against the catch potential of Thresh. Annie actually having to run away here up. Another Twilight Chat just for the slow. So I'm sorry, Twilight Chat is actually a peeling ability. The invisibility, that's the unimportant side consequence of being able to slow the entire enemy team.
Yeah. I mean, what's invisibility when compared to slow at this point? But we do have the super Mega Death Rocket here, gonna actually steal away that blue Amumu, very sad money.
It went to
Ziggs.
Ziggs.
Dang it.
Yeah, Ziggs. So they were actually passing over the blue buff, which is something that you'll do with Ezreal quite a bit. Ezreal, if you're on red side and you're playing Ezreal, your bot lane, your jungler wants to pass you blue because he's such a kind soul, and you're Ezreal and you're fed. So you'll actually just use your ult timed with the jungler being about to get red low enough. And so you'll just ult with True Shot Barrage. It's a little bit more surprising to see it passed over that way on Ziggs though, because when you ult before the blue buff, you don't get the CDR. Because you cast it before the damage hits. So you don't get the CDR on that ult, and Ziggs' ult is a lot more impactful in a lot of situations than Ezreal's ult is.
Yeah, and he has no way of lowering the cast time. As actually Bobby gets caught out a little bit out of position, and now Nasus being wailed on by Penguin, and it's a little bit of a scattered fight, but that's exactly what UPIT wants, as they do get off a huge anti-stun, and that's going to be a lot of damage coming out. Robert does escape their flash, trying to get into the back line here, but there's just too much coming out here, and Ketch going to get under the turret, and he is a beast right now, popping that Ragnarok, and he's going to run to safety here, as so far it's been a 3 for none. Akali going ham under the turret here, going to pick herself up a triple kill there, and that is going to be a 4 for 0.
Stealing away the Quadra with the last tick of red buff there.
Very sad day. I'm sorry, very sorry, Sealark. You worked hard for that, but scumbag Jinx there, unfortunately.
It wouldn't have been a penta anyway, but yeah that fight was is a little bit spread out, like you were saying. It was a really, really solid Tibbers. Olaf wasn't quite there yet. And so the fight at first looked like it was going in favor of Dartmouth. Nice talisman to get the extra move speed to dodge that bandage. Even though Akali didn't go far, she went far enough to dodge it. And they should be able to pick up the inhibitor here there with only the jungle and support to contend.
Yeah, no, and they are going to do their
Actually,
best.
they don't have their AD carry. They don't have their AD carry.
Yeah, and actually, Sealark being brought very low here, and there's a lot of AoE damage coming out from this blue side team, and so that is going to be shut down, actually going to Thresh there, and that's not exactly who you want that in the hands of. Akali actually may have jumped into that wall on purpose.
So something that we didn't talk about is that Lee Sin's actually getting caught out.
Yes, he is indeed, and he jumps over the wall towards the blue side base, and really just relegates himself to death there. As,
And he's a jungler.
yeah, and I mean, I would have tried to get out there. One of the most mobile champs in the game, he might have had a chance, but it may actually give Dartmouth over a Baron here.
Because they just picked out the enemy jungler near Baron, which is just the best thing to do.
Yeah, and I mean, you don't really have too much as far as steal away ability now, but they still have Catch 20, and he is a beast, and he pops the Ragnarok. He's going in. They're just going to go on to the members of the team. Baron, does go over to Dartmouth, but at this point it might be too little too late, as they've already got several members down. Penguin being brought very low, but gets the passive, but it's not going to be enough as Ziggs picking up that kill. 20 is still going ham, though. A very tanky Nasus, though, is going to stop that for now, but now Sealark is there as well. Going to be jumping onto Flesh, and a nice, actually, disengaged bomb there. Satchel Charge coming out from Ziggs, and we'll see Sealark continuing to make chase, gets another ultimate in there, trying to get the resets. There's Annie being brought very low. The bomb's almost bringing down Sealark, and that final bomb just narrowly going to be run away from by Sealark.
That was crazy. Okay, so Lee Sin was caught out in the jungle, and so the Baron went over to Dartmouth. I love the way you put it. There wasn't much steal ability from UPIT there. And so they said, okay, well, Mumu is going to be able to smite. They don't have a Gragas, they don't have a smite, they don't have a Mega Inferno Bomb, they have nothing that can attempt. Lucian had gotten somewhat low, and so Mega Inferno, or Super Mega Death Rocket rather, out of Penguin was actually able to do quite a bit of damage. And so Lucian ended up going down, which meant that Dartmouth didn't have any DPS in the preceding fight. But Akali wasn't there, and they were able to get Jinx down. It was actually an empowered by Lichbane auto attack from Ziggs that took down Jinx. So I completely take it back. Lichbane, great item on Jinx, or great item on Ziggs rather. And so Ziggs was able to pick up that kill. And then Akali came in, tried to do what she could. She was really, really close to the kill onto Nasus, but Nasus has just enough magic resist, was able to survive it. So much peel coming out from Nasus, from Ziggs. They have so many slows, like you were talking about. It's a dive comp against all of these CCs, and the only champion that can really, really do it is going to be Olaf.
Yeah, and look at him, 265 farm right now, and I mean, not to mention the farm advantage that Akali and Jinx have, as well as the global gold from those turrets and the dragons that they've got. I guess they're even on dragons at this point. But yeah, 7-2 in turrets, and they are way ahead in gold, all of the carries, and especially Olaf at this point as the carry tank, so to speak, on this red side. And it looks like they are actually going to be looking at the dragon here. Jinx going to be taking that long walk back from the top lane, but they've got the lanes pushed, and this has got to be their next objective they're looking at.
Yeah, so one thing I just want to say, Nasus has about 300 stacks on his Q, for those of you who are wondering. Sorry for not bringing that up early, but he actually has 0% CDR. I looked at it, he has no CDR even in the offense tree, and they're actually going to go on to 6.
Yes, indeed. Oh is in deep there. Gets onto no-scope. The Mega Inferno Bomb does come out there. Penguin's in the back, though, doing a ton of damage. Gonna go ahead and go down, actually. NASA's picking that one up, but Olaf is in the back line, and Blobby and Mark are trying to do as much damage as they can. Flesh trying to get out as well. Penguin actually does not have that ultimate right now. Trying to get the last one in there, and it is going to be a last hit, and she is very excited. The triple kill coming out. Blobby's going to be the quadra kill for Jinx.
A really, really nice quadra there comes in from Penguin. He is just doing so much damage right now. He has the Bloodthirster, Phantom Dancer, and Lost Whisper completed. In addition, building towards that Banshee's Veil. And again, I love the Banshee's Veil pickup onto Jinx. Banshee's Veil is a great item for AD carries, really for anyone to be able to pick up. You know, you make jokes about how Gambit Gaming, they build crazy things. They just throw at a dartboard and say, okay, we're going to build those items. They use Ultimate Bravery. But honestly, the fact that they all build Banshee's Veils, that is so smart. That item is so good. Really glad to see that Penguin's going to be picking that up. And he'll be able to finish that on the next recall and then build towards an Infinity Edge next. But the thing is that Lucian, check out his build. He actually went for the double lifesteal of Blade of the Rain King and going for the Last Whisper as well. So it's good that he does have the Last Whisper. That's really important to be able to get through the Randuins. He's up against 2 Randuins, and of course the the Zonias rather coming out from Akali there, as Akali might be caught in the jungle.
Yes, he's trying to get in onto no scope, and he actually is going to get in there. The stun from Annie comes out, and Sealark does pick up the kill, and now actually flashing over the wall, going to go ahead and escape as the ultimate though from Mark comes out. And the one kill that we were probably going to see tonight from that Lucian ultimate there is...
no, Thresh took the kill with Death Sentence.
Oh, he did! Oh my gosh, I saw that Death Sentence come out, and I guess I wasn't paying attention to the interaction there. Is actually, we do see Lord Teros getting in there, taking a lot of damage though, gets Tibbers out, but is being brought very low, is going to go down finally. Lucian picking up that kill. Oh, now in a 3v1 situation, going to go down as well. And this is a broken fight for UPIT, as they are going to actually re-engage with Penguin and Catch Ju. That's really all they need at this point. They're going to be getting on a flash. Penguin is man mode in the back line now, picking up the kill on a Mark, is going to go down to Nasus, and now it's a 2v1. Catch, though, is a beast, and he is going to chase onto Robert there. And Robert, he does not have flash available, so that should be a kill for Catch.
So that was a 3 versus 2 that really Dartmouth should have been able to win. When you have your Nasus plus an Amumu plus a Lucian, should be able to do perfectly fine against a Jinx and Olaf, and should be able to pick up all of those kills. However, the fact that Nasus has no CDR is actually hurting him quite a bit. He has actually picked up the 10% now, but he's not casting those Qs on a short enough cooldown. He's really not getting them down. It's a 3.6 second cooldown right now. It can go down below 3 seconds once he gets the additional CDR that he is hopefully going to be able to pick up a little bit later on in this game. It was an interesting build going for the Randuins into the Sunfire Cape, but he really does need to pick up a little bit more CDR if he at all possibly can. Just go for the Frozen Heart to be able to get that extra 20% CDR. The attack speed debuff will be great against Jinx, and he'll get the additional CDR. So doesn't have that much damage. And also his Wither, you have to think about that cooldown as being extremely important against Jinx. Jinx is hard countered by something like Wither, because her reset, her escape on kills is just extra move speed. If you're slowed, that gets rid of the extra move speed so much. And so you're actually really going to be in a lot of trouble if you have those constant withers coming down. And then the second thing is that Lucian's build is not DPS heavy. He went for double lifesteal because he is really scared of the divers. We were saying they have so many divers while there's so much peel, except he's not actually getting that much peel. A lot of the offensive capabilities are being used, or a lot of the CC abilities are being used in their offensive capability. And so Lucian actually really felt the need to pick up that Blade of the Ruined King so that he can kite a little bit better. In addition to the Bloodthirster, that is not a high DPS build. It's really good at keeping him alive, but it's not giving him the massive amounts of damage that Dartmouth really need right now.
Yeah, no, and I mean, I would love to see, an Infinity Edge or something coming out here from him, as he's really not making a big difference in these team fights. Well, especially when you've got Olaf jumping into the back line and absolutely annihilating your back line. And right now, I think what Dartmouth needs to do is they need to bring these team fights back a step. They need to make sure that their tank line is not being annihilated, and really just try to disengage and move the fights back, as we are now getting back into the game from that pause. But yeah, and so we'll see what they can do here. It's 30-18 in kills, 7-2 in turrets. And yeah, it's a huge goal lead right now for UPIT. And once again, this is a best of one, so this is it for both these teams, as NoScope defends these Nexus turrets.
Yeah, defending the Nexus turrets from the Super Minions that are coming down in the top lane. It is better for the offensive team to have it in the side lane than have it in the mid lane, because only one of the Nexus turrets will be able to focus down the Super Minion waves that early. And we see Ziggs happy to clear those out. We haven't looked too much at farm over the course of this game, but the numbers are a little bit on the low side. We have 258 on Ziggs, 263 on Akali. So again, Akali has done a great job of keeping ahead in CS for the entire game. And Jinx also ahead of Lucian in CS. And Lucian actually going for another offensive item here, so going to be able to pick up his Infinity Edge, but still not going to be getting those crits out. Generally, you don't actually want to pick up an Infinity Edge before you have your Phantom Dancer. I believe, I'm not actually entirely sure of the numbers, because the crits, you're just not getting enough value, you're not getting enough crits for the value of the Infinity Edge to be worth it if you don't have the Phantom Dancer yet.
Yeah, and looks like we do have Penguin soloing the Dragon at this point. That's going to be another Dragon and some more gold into UPIT's hands. She was spotted out by a ward as well as the ultimate there from Ziggs. It actually came down onto that Dragon before she even started it, but free Dragon there for Penguin. No sweat here as they are focusing onto this bottom lane. Amumu's there, but right now Dartmouth scrambling to get in there to defend this bottom turret. And we've been talking about a little bit this game. The siege still, I think, is in favor of Dartmouth. The question is, are UPIT too fed right now to even defend these inhibitors?
Well, they have 3 Banshee's Veils already, so that's going to make it much easier for them to actually siege, because when she has Banshee's Veil up, Jinx doesn't need to be worried about getting 100 to 0 immediately. And you don't actually have a Crucible on Annie going for a really selfish build there, picking up the Banshee's Veil instead of going for that Crucible. And Annie's actually really, really tanky right now. 159 magic resist, 155 armor when she turns on her E. She has more magic resist than Lee Sin does when she turns on her E.
Yeah, and right now they are jumping in there. The Lucian ultimate really just bee stings on the back of these 2 tanks from UPIT, and they're jumping onto the tank. Meanwhile, from Dartmouth, as Nasus does escape on the Lantern Express there, but he is already at under half health. And at this point, UPIT, they were trying to bait around that Baron. They may go back and grab it. At this point, they may not even need to, but they tried to bait it out, so now they're just going to go ahead and get it. No questions asked, as Nasus has to back, and a few members here returning. With a Mega Inferno Bomb is available, but that's going to be a hard steal.
Yeah, so Thresh actually just took a really long time to get out of base, which was really, really bad for them. He wasn't waiting for any gold or anything. The Baron does go down, so in the end it doesn't matter. They would have been able to get it in time. Nasus might be caught.
Yeah, he has to walk around those chompers. Is going to escape for now, but the slow comes down. The Lantern Express once again bringing him to safety. Now Robert is a little bit out of position. Meanwhile, Ziggs being brought down on the backside of that fight. C-Link, narrowly escapes that bandage toss there. And now Tibbers comes in on the Flash Purveyor. They're going to jump on him. C-Lark, meanwhile, 3v1 does go down as Lucian picking up that kill. So overall, it's a 2v1 so far. And ooh, actually a little bit out of position. A double kill going over to Mark there as they are chasing onto this. That's a Baroned up red team. The flash comes out from Blobby. He's going to dodge out from that slow from Penguin, but it still is going to be an inhibitor down for UPIT. Honestly, that was a little bit of a sloppy fight for UPIT, but still coming out on top.
Yeah, so Akali went into the backline and just assassinated Ziggs. And Ziggs is so scared of Akali that he actually picked up an Abyssal Scepter, which is not an item that you see built very often on anyone anymore. But what he's figuring with that item is that the person he's really concerned about dealing damage to is Akali when she's jumping on top of him. And the thing I was going to talk about before, I'm sure you were all waiting in suspense when I said the thing that we haven't talked about and then never brought it up, was that Ziggs is actually good against Akali as far as a squishy burst mage can be against an Akali, because he has really great AoE to put down in the Twilight Shroud. And so even if Akali is shrouded, Ziggs can still try to get a lot of damage down onto her. So he's going for the Abyssal to try and be able to actually do extra damage to her, but I don't think he really has skill potential onto her. And maybe if he picked up his Zhonya's, he'd be able to survive for a little bit longer until his team actually came over. So perhaps that would have been the better defensive item there for Ziggs, going for Zhonya's as opposed to an Abyssal. But he did go for the Abyssal, and that will also increase Amumu's abilities as well, and in fact Amumu able to reduce magic resist with his passive Cursed Touch. So if you combine that, you can get a lot of magic resist off of Akali. Yeah,
that is going to be good. However, Akali, really, it's going to end up basically just being true damage onto her, because she doesn't actually have any real magic resistance right now. She does have that Zhonya's Hourglass, so we'll see how that plays out here in this next fight, as the next target here for UPIT is going to be this bottom turret. Catch-22 and Annie both sporting blue buffs here, as they were able to steal that blue buff for Annie, and now they're actually beginning really the first siege, the first real siege we've seen of the game.
Yeah, so the top wave still has about another 25 seconds or so before it's going to be an issue. So they just need to stop. They don't want to engage until the next wave actually comes in. And they really, really want to wait for someone on Dartmouth to have to peel up top and push the wave out. And that's going to be Nasus right now. Nasus does have teleport, but Nasus has to channel his teleport to be able to rejoin the fight. So they have a little bit of time, and honestly, Olaf should just be tanking turret right now and allowing Jinx to get those auto attacks off.
Yeah, Jinx, widely known as the AD carry that tears down turrets. And they really are just playing a little bit tentatively right now. I mean, they know they're in the lead. They know they've got the game under control. But at this point, especially after that somewhat spotty team fight right around this front turret here, in the mid lane, they want to make sure that they meticulously end this game out. They've got the top lane pushing, and now it looks like they're going to try to split push in mid and bot, as they're just not confident in their siege capabilities.
Yeah, they're really unconfident right now in this late game. They have the inhibitor down on top, but they're not really willing to commit to start hitting a turret, and that's just cautious play. And it's something that slightly less experienced teams will do because they don't want to throw the game. And it's really the smart thing to do. If you have not played this late game through, 70 times and know exactly what to do, you want to make sure that you don't throw it. You have the Baron buff right now, and you want to make sure that at some point in time you're able to either push a tower or get a good team fight. And you don't want to risk diving a turret, you don't want to risk a bad team fight. And again, this is just one of the problems where their composition is really weak at closing out games. Finally, they're taking the turret.
Yeah, 2 members actually forced back to defend. Then Nexus, as actually Catch-20 gets very low. He is going to be shut down there. Ziggs picking up that kill. Jinx, though, does get the turret. And now it's Lee Sin in the back line doing a lot of damage as Penguin continues getting excited and now finally slowing down, forced to flash over the wall. That inhibitor's still up, but now Lee Sin still getting fresh in the base, and he has just been having free reign of wherever he wants to stand, and he is going to go ahead and give up another kill. Report Lee for feeding there. As
I'm not too sure why Lee was there. I didn't get to watch it. He probably had to run away and just couldn't get out, but that was totally worth it. A 1 for 3 picking up the turret, that was 100% worth it for UPIT, because really the only major weakness of their team, I guess there's 2 weaknesses. The first is that they don't have great peel for Jinx, and the second is that they don't have good siege. So the fact that they were able to lose only 3 for 1 and pick up the inhibitor turret, and they didn't even lose any of their own objectives. You see, Dartmouth isn't actually pushing out right now, and the dragon on the disengage was actually just picked up by Akali. So UPIT managed to pick up the inhibitor turret, managed to pick up the dragon, and only lost a 1 for 3. That was so worth it for them.
Yeah, and the objectives control from them, and yeah, like you mentioned, they don't have that. Those turrets are the huge blocks for them, and now they've got 2 open inhibitors that they can engage on.
Yeah, and they can dive into the middle of the enemy team comp in an open area all that they want. That fight would have gone a little bit better for UPIT if Jinx had been able to do DPS to champions the entire time, but unfortunately she has to take the tower down. That's sort of the thing that AD carries do. They're sort of really good at pushing towers. That and Kales with Lichbane, but Jinx had to do her duties on pushing the tower, couldn't be helping out the team at the beginning, and I think if that exact same team fight happened, but Jinx was able to attack champions at the very beginning, I actually think that UPIT would win the fight. Yeah,
it would be a completely different fight, and I guess that's what they're hoping right now. The Baron's coming up in 40 seconds, so it looks like they are going to dive in here. As Akali gets a little fresh there, Sealark is going to escape it. No! A nice blobby magnet pull there is going to catch her out. Sealark does pop that Zhonya's to stay alive for now, but Robert is right on her as Olaf in the back line. He's being brought very low, actually, by Mark. He is going to go down there. Ziggs picking that up with another Lichbane proc there. And now a team fight actually looking not too bad for Dartmouth, as Fleshbane should go down from this. They're going to go ahead and give a double kill over to Penguin, and overall a 3 for 1. And that's about as good of a fight, I think, as Dartmouth's going to get, and unfortunately they're going to lose an inhibitor off of it as well.
So Lucian was able to do the first thing that he needed to do, which was to pick up the kill onto Olaf when Olaf dived. However, what he wasn't able to do was rejoin the fight, and actually he might pay for his life now.
Yeah, being brought very low, and as well as Ziggs actually being brought very low. Penguin trying to get in there. There's no flash there, so yeah, not going to be able to get in there. The slow comes down. Penguin's really going to take a few hits, but yeah. The other inhibitor does go down, and it looks like they're going to focus on the third one here. Is O0 continuing to draw aggro here on this side of the map.
Yeah, and actually...
Yeah, being brought very low, but Mark not missing that. Oh, the Mega Inferno Bomb is not going to quite catch him here, but Mark is going to do it, getting himself a kill.
So that's a jungler, dead for 70 seconds.
And this is quite reminiscent here. It's not as close to the Baron as last time, but they may look at that. I think with 2 inhibitors down, it's going to be difficult for them, though. It does give them a little bit of a reprise for a bit, though.
Yeah, so there's 2 ways to look at this. The first way to look at it is, okay, well, UPIT just made a mistake. Let's just be happy that they made a mistake, hold on, stall the game out a little bit longer, see what we can do. The second thing that you can say is, okay, well, they just made a mistake, but it's not going to happen again. We have to get Baron right now, or we're not going to be able to do anything. And that's what they're doing, is saying we just have to go for the Baron. Banshee's Veil gets popped there.
Yeah, and they are going to go in. It's 4v5 right now as Catch getting back into the deep line, deep into the back line like he's been doing. Sealark popping a fairly early Zhonya's, but that is going to work out perfectly for her. Actually does go down to Ziggs. Olaf going to be picking up a kill, 1-for-1 on the backside of that. And right now, a lot of low health bars there on the blue side is Penguin going to get another kill for herself. Flesh Purveyor's ultimate just wore off, but there he is going to escape. Actually, Olaf still around, and it's going to be 3v1 against him, doing a ton of damage, trying to stay alive here. Penguin's now joining the fray. The Lantern was there, but Flesh did not want to take it, and that's going to get Penguin excited. Lord Taros gets the stun off onto Robert. Jinx going to be picking up a double kill. The slow from Nasus remains. Here comes the bomb, though, and a huge ultimate there from Jinx, picking up the kill, and that's a triple, and that should be the game.
Yeah, that's going to be the game. The Super Minions actually maybe not quite have been able to end it, but with the new minion spawns, but that's going to be no match for a Jinx. That Nexus there goes down 50 gold to Jinx, and Jinx ending the game 17-3 and 13. Massive percent kill participation. Generally, AD carries will not have that high kill participation because they're only focusing a couple targets in fights, but Jinx was all over the place that game. Great ults, great fight play, just fantastic AD carry play there coming out of Penguin. So really, really well played by him. Everyone on the side of UPIT actually had a good game that time. And so really well played by them. That's going to give them the victory and actually move them on to the second round, which is going to be the semifinals of the regional competition. So they're going to move on to that tomorrow, while they will fight against the winners of one of our next games that we're going to be able to bring to you. And I do believe that there is an issue with the stream, so we're going to have to restart that real quick.
Yes, indeed.
So when it goes down, don't panic. Don't go anywhere. That is planned. That is supposed to happen. We will be back very, very shortly. Almost instantaneously, I believe, actually, when the stream goes down. We'll make an announcement right before it happens. So thank you all very much for watching. I'm Ryan Golden River. I'm joined by Gilfrost, and we'll be right back.
A girl with a wicked mind.